Cartersville is a great place to live, but only if you're okay with a few realities that don't always show up in marketing brochures. If you're planning to move to the Northwest Georgia area and you need help or have questions about real estate, the easiest way to reach me is to text me at the number right here. I'll reply back to you as soon as I can. Every week, people just like you contact me about homes in all different price ranges, and I would love to assist you. I'd be honored to help out. So please, seriously, text me today. This video isn't intended to talk anyone out of moving here. It's more designed to make sure that you move here for the right reasons. All right, let's get into this. If you are thinking about relocating to Cartersville, this is an important conversation. Cartersville definitely moves at a pace of life that's a little bit slower than much of the metro area. You'll see this show up in daily routines, relaxed business hours, traffic patterns, even how people interact with each other. Now, if you're used to everything being immediate, PDQ, go, go, go all the time, same day everything, constant activity, nonstop urgency, this slower pace of life can require some adjustment at first, but many people have come to realize that a slower pace of life, it becomes a feature, not a flaw. Now, things still get done, but not necessarily always in a rush. If nightlife is a big part of your lifestyle, this is important. As I mentioned in some other videos, I've been a DJ for more than 22 years, and so this definitely has affected me over the years. Cartersville doesn't have a late night club scene. Doesn't really have a row of bars that are open until 2 a.m. It definitely doesn't have a high energy nightlife district. If you're looking for that, there's plenty of places. Broad Street and Rome is an area. There's plenty of places down in Cobb County. There's some places in Canton, and there's even, of course, tons of places down in Atlanta. However, Cartersville does have a lot of great, amazing local restaurants, some casual spots to go grab a drink. We've got Drown Valley Brewing right in downtown Cartersville, as well as in Harley. There's Six's Tavern over on the west side of town. Several other great little places if you're looking for a quick stop off and drink. Also, we've got lots of events and festivals that occur throughout the year. Several of them taking place down at the downtown depot, up in Adairsville, Sam Smith Park, and so forth. There's a lot of things to do in Bartow County. It's just not a constant party scene late at night. Now, many of our residents will head to larger metro areas if they want that nightlife, and then are perfectly content to drive back home or catch an Uber or whatever afterwards. So the bottom line is that Cartersville is more about mornings than midnights. Now, I moved here from the Houston, Texas area. The year that I moved here, 2001, I believe we had over 100 consecutive days of triple-digit temperature and 90+% humidity. So when I arrived here in Cartersville, the following summer, people were like, oh my gosh, it's so hot this summer. And I was like, this is really nice compared to what I'm used to. Now, if I went back to Houston, I'd probably be dying in the heat over there. But the summer here in Cartersville is definitely hot, and it lasts longer than some of our newcomers expect. So what does that mean? It means the average summer temperatures are often the upper 80s to low 90s. Now, heat and humidity typically start up in late May, and summer weather generally stretches into late August, sometimes all the way through September and even into early October. Now, this is not a quick 3-month summer. You'll feel it if you're out doing yard work, pottering around in the garden, or mowing the yard, etc. You'll definitely feel it during some of the afternoon events. You'll definitely feel it if you're out running errands. However, the trade-off, the upside is that we have a long season that you can use your pool. Lots of lush greenery during that time of year. And generally speaking, the winters are fairly mild and we get very little snow. Now, with that said, this is the 24th of January 2026, and we are currently under an ice storm warning that is stretching across much of the eastern and central United States. So we may end up with some snow and ice over the next couple of days, but typically we don't get much snow here. So bottom line, if you're not a fan of hot summers, the summers here definitely do require a little bit of adjustment. Make sure you stay in the shade, drink lots of water, have a good air conditioner, and pace yourself throughout the day. So here's the thing, a lot of the jobs here are more manufacturing and industrial jobs rather than corporate jobs. Of course, everybody needs to have some sort of employment, especially if you're planning to buy real estate. And let's talk a little bit about the job makeup here in Cartersville. Cartersville and the surrounding areas typically lean more towards manufacturing, logistics, distribution, and some industrial and skilled trades, welders, plumbers, electricians, and so forth. You won't find a very big concentration of financial firms, high-tech campuses, or corporate headquarters here. Now, the pros of that is that we do have stable industries. A lot of our companies have been in business here for many, many, many years, decades even. We've got a lot of long-term employers. Some companies, they've got, tenured people who've been there 20, 30, 40 years and more. We also have a strong blue-collar and skilled labor market here with lots of opportunities for folks in that work environment. Now, some of the cons, there are fewer high-paying jobs here, especially white-collar or corporate roles. Also, many professionals have to commute or work remotely. And last but not least, there is limited upward mobility in some of the white-collar fields unless you're willing to travel. Cartersville works especially well for remote workers, people who are willing to commute, and those who are in industrial or manufacturing sectors. However, if you are expecting a dense corporate job market, especially a white-collar job market, you're probably not going to find much opportunity here in Cartersville. But we've got some local areas around Cartersville, and you can certainly get one of those jobs if you're willing to commute a little bit. If you're relocating here specifically looking for high-end rental options, that inventory can be pretty limited. We've got some rentals, some newer communities, and some higher quality options, but compared to some of the larger metro areas, luxury rentals here are fairly sparse, especially single-family luxury rentals. Many buyers end up purchasing sooner than they had originally planned. They adjust their expectations to fit the available inventory, or they widen their search radius a little bit further out than what they had planned on originally. Now, this is important to know. This area is more of a home ownership oriented market as compared to a rental market, especially on that high end. Now, big city access is not too far away. Jump on I-75. We're 45 miles northwest of Atlanta. But one thing to be certain and very clear about is if you want frequent access to a major city, you're going to be driving south on I-75 with 4 million other people, and that comes with traffic. Trips toward the metro area generally mean congestion during peak hours. It means you need to plan around rush hour, and it also means you need to allow extra time for events, concerts, sporting events, and meetings. Make sure that you allow yourself extra time to get down there. Many residents plan their city trips strategically. They travel during off hours, or they limit how frequently they make the drive. If you're able to work from home, work remotely, and only have to go into the office a couple of times a week, that's fantastic. You can access all of the big city amenities of Atlanta, but you're going to pay for it in traffic and planning ahead. And speaking of planning ahead, that brings me to point number 7. Planning ahead does matter. One of the biggest lifestyle shifts that people often notice is the need to plan ahead. This applies to things like dining at popular spots, appointments, events, certain services. Cartersville isn't a city that's built around last-minute decisions, but if you're someone who enjoys predictability, routine, and intentional planning, Cartersville often feels refreshingly manageable. The reality is a little bit of planning goes a long way here. We don't really have the tons of stores and things that you might find in a more metro area like Cobb County. So if you need some specialty item, you will definitely need to plan ahead. If those 7 things sound reasonable or even appealing, Cartersville often checks a lot of boxes for buyers. Cartersville isn't trying to be everything to everyone, and for the right people, that's exactly why it works for them. Now, if you're still exploring whether Cartersville fits your lifestyle, whether you're relocating, investing, buying, or selling, I'm happy to help you sort through the pros and cons. Please reach out to me at any time. We'll figure it out together whether Cartersville makes sense for you or if another area in Northwest Georgia would be a better fit for you. I'm Drew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. First up, let's talk about the pace of life. We are a little slower pace. Let me rephrase that. We're a little slower.